The rain beat down on the marble steps of the city hospital like a drum of fate. Through the glass doors, people hurried past without looking, clutching umbrellas and briefcases, too busy to notice a shivering woman on her knees. Her hair was plastered to her face, her hands trembling as she clutched a worn medical folder to her chest. In the hallway beyond, a little girl lay motionless on a gurney, a pale ribbon of life slipping through tiny fingers. Just as the woman raised her voice, desperate enough to pierce through the noise of privilege and power, a tall man in a charcoal suit stepped out of the elevator. He was one of the city's richest men, known for his ruthlessness in business and his indifference to strangers. But at that moment he froze, hearing her words. "Please, save my daughter. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of a single act to change a life, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Hidden Hearts. Together we can spread stories that remind us what really matters." His name was Adrian Cole, a self-made billionaire whose face appeared on magazine covers and financial networks. Yet inside, Adrian carried a hollow ache no one saw. Years ago, he'd lost his own child to a rare illness while negotiating a high-profile deal. That pain, buried under layers of wealth and success, was the invisible chain around his heart. Now, in the hospital lobby, he saw that same look of helplessness in the eyes of this young woman. She was no older than 30, wearing a faded sweater and thrift store jeans, her shoes soaked through. Beside her, on a gurney, a little girl with dark curls and olive skin struggled to breathe under a thin hospital blanket. The monitors beeped steadily, but the numbers told a grim story. She needed a surgery they couldn't afford. The staff moved around them like ghosts. A nurse gently told the mother there was nothing more they could do without immediate payment. The mother's face cracked, but she didn't stop. She slid forward on her knees, begging, whispering prayers between sobs. Adrian felt a memory slam into him. The night he had sat outside his own son's hospital room as the doctors delivered the news. He remembered the way people had avoided his eyes, just like they were avoiding hers now. His throat closed. He didn't even realize he had walked toward her until he was standing beside her. She looked up at him with a mixture of fear and hope, not recognizing the famous man. He asked quietly what had happened. In halting words, she told him about the rare heart defect, about working 3 jobs since her husband left, about selling her wedding ring, and every valuable thing to pay for medications. She said she had been waiting for a miracle. She didn't know why she was telling him, a stranger. Adrian turned to the nurse and said he would cover the surgery and all related costs. The nurse blinked, thinking he had misheard. He repeated himself with a voice that brooked no argument. Within minutes, administrators came running with paperwork. The woman clutched her daughter's hand as tears streamed down her face, whispering thank you over and over. Adrian stood apart, feeling something shift in him, something long dormant coming alive. He didn't leave after signing the check. He stayed through the long night, pacing the halls while the little girl underwent surgery. At dawn, when the surgeon came out with a tired smile and said it was successful, the mother collapsed into his arms, sobbing. Adrian felt his own tears burn. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about profit margins or stock prices. He was thinking about a child's future, about the woman who refused to give up on her. Over the weeks that followed, Adrian visited them often. He learned the little girl's name was Sophia. He brought her books and toys, but more than that, he brought his time. He sat by her bed telling her stories about his own childhood, stories he hadn't shared with anyone in decades. Sophia's laughter filled the sterile hospital room like sunlight through a cracked window. Her mother, Elena, slowly began to see Adrian not as a billionaire, but as a man carrying his own wounds. When Sophia was finally discharged, Adrian arranged for them to move into a safe apartment near a good school. He set up a trust for her medical needs and education, but he did it quietly, without a press release or cameras. He told Elena he didn't want credit. He just wanted Sophia to have a chance at life. Elena found a new job at a local library and began building stability again, holding her daughter's hand every step of the way. Months later, Adrian stood at a small community concert where Sophia played the violin for the first time in public. Her fragile heart had healed enough for her to hold the bow steady. Adrian sat in the back, unnoticed, his hands folded. When she finished, the applause shook the hall. Elena turned, saw him there, and mouthed the words, "Thank you." He nodded, unable to speak. In that moment, he realized he had not only saved a life, he had saved his own heart from the coldness that had been swallowing it for years. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Hidden Hearts. Your engagement helps bring more stories of kindness, hope, and second chances to life. Before you go, we'd love to hear from you. What's the kindest act you've ever witnessed? Comment below and inspire others.